Hey, everybody. So thanks for those who are coming to watch Adobe Firefly and Adobe Express. So yeah, today it's Adobe Firefly and Adobe Express with me, Andrew Kavanagh. I'll show you some pretty cool stuff in Adobe Firefly, show you how easy it is to take it into Adobe Express and add some design elements and some animation, bring it to life. Okay. Hi, Lance. Good to see you here. So welcome, everybody. Let me know where you're watching from. Get started soon enough. And now, while people are coming in, give a bit of a shout out. So, as a BenQ ambassador, you can see behind me, I recommend the BenQ monitors, always accurate and consistent colors. So, as an example, there's the BenQ PD3225U 4K Thunderbolt monitor, very deep blacks, Thunderbolt 3 capabilities, MBook mode display P3, great monitor. And also the best 5K monitor for professional designers is the BenQ PD2730S. Beautiful monitors, great. And a bit of a shout out to StreamYard. So StreamYard is one who makes this possible. So I live stream to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and sometimes Twitter or X. So thank you, StreamYard. And so I'm going to share my screen and jump on in. Okay, so you can see here I am at firefly.adobe.com. And there's various options they give you from the get-go. So you have text to image, text to video, boards, which is in beta. So you can generate images or upload your own and start remixing on a board. And then there's text to vector, image to video, and then there's scene to image beta. So create captivating images using 3D shapes. So today, I'm just going to do start with text to image. Let me see if there's any comments here. I like your trophy shelf. I've got a bit of some pillows and also some rewards. I got the Guru reward for Photoshop World. So, okay, so as you can see here, start generating images. On the left, it tells you that it's the Firefly Image 4 model. And then used to be Firefly Image 3 before that. It's now even better, more realistic, more detailed. You can choose the visual intensity. And then also you can choose the aspect ratio. So do I want it landscape or square? I think I'll make it square. And you can choose if you want the content type to be photo or art. I'm going to make it art. And then for this first round, I'm just going to give the text prompt in and generate the image. And then the second one, I'm going to use a reference image to see how it influences my style. So at the bottom where it says prompt, I just paste in close-up of the moon's cratered surface, hit generate. You get 4 different variations. So you can see them kind of shimmering. That is them being generated. Pretty fast. So yeah. So we got, click on it, it gets a bigger view. So it's pretty nice, pretty realistic also for art. Nice blue sky behind. And I do believe it'll keep the generations, but just to make sure that I don't lose anything, I'm just going to go to the top right and download one of them. And that's similar, but I might download that as well. So then I wanted to show you that if I can go to reference under composition or style, I might even try the same for both. So I'll go to reference, and then under my folder for today, I have another kind of moon. So I'm going to just choose this, which is kind of a close-up. I'm wondering if it's going to make it more of a close-up. And then that's the reference for the composition. And then also maybe same thing, do a reference of that same image for the style and see if that affects. So a image that I created in Leonardo, which I tend to like to do, is use other apps, bring them in, and see how they interact with the Adobe Firefly style. So reference image and style image, make the strength a little bit higher. I don't know if I want to go all the way up, but it's not kind of giving me a gauge. I guess I'll keep it in the middle. For reference, keep it in the middle as well. So now when I hit generate, it's going to reference that reference image. It's the same exact text prompt. And I see that Rose is here. Good to see you here, Rose. Lovely sunny day here in Christchurch. So let's get into the winter. Yeah, great. So yeah, so that one did take more of the true reference, and it made it kind of more like a close-up of the surface. So when I click on it, you can see that. And so I can download that, scroll through, kind of like the middle one, first one. But if I click on the first one, you can see you can open in Photoshop Web, you can download, you can favorite it, you can share it, and then submit it to the gallery. And then as you can see, it says open in Adobe Express, which I'm going to do. But also if you go to top left, you say edit, generate video, generate fill, generate similar, open in Photoshop Web, and then create design. So I believe that's Adobe Express as well. So in this case, I just bottom right, open in Adobe Express, and there it opens it up in my Adobe Express. Right there, places the image. Nice. And I can go to the title up top left, just call it Moon. And then what I wanted to do was add some elements. So I go here, let's see, just grab some ideas. So first is, we have the moon, but we need some characters. So go over to the left, you can see there's media, there's elements. So if I go over to elements, I just go where the search is, post in the word astronaut. And then there's backgrounds, but if I were to click on a background, it would take over this image, which doesn't really help me too much. Then there's icons. I can say view all, and I get these kind of cute cartoon astronauts. If I go back to design assets, then I get more of these. So if I click here, yeah, I do get a transparent, which is great. So I got a transparent astronaut. Let me just, so with this, what I do is I click on the background and I just say set background. So then when I click on it, it won't be picking up. Oh, there's even a little shadow. So they already have a little shadow for you. So, so what I can do is I can place them here. And then if I want to, I can obviously resize. So I go to any corner. If I hold down the Option key on a Mac, Alt on a PC, do that, I can make it a little bit bigger. It makes it bigger on proportionally on both sides. And then from there, I can go over, you have the image edit, and then you have like erase, remove object. If I hit generate similar, you can get generate variations of the astronaut, but I'm pretty happy with the astronaut as is. If I go to effects, as you can see here on the left, you can give it color punch, golden hour, sunbath, different kind of toning and filter stylizations. And then there's duotone, which is usually my favorite. So you can choose two different colors to give it kind of a nice pop, such as here's like a purple and a aqua. And then you can also add a shadow to it, but in this case, it already has a shadow. So I'm going to go over to animation, and then you have the three options of in, loop, and out. So in is it coming into your image. Loop is it being in your image for a certain amount of time, and then out is the way it would exit your image. So as you as you hover over any of the presets, it gives you a preview. And then the only thing is, if you choose wobble, you'll notice that loop and out are grayed out, so they're not available in that. And then you do get these kind of cursor icons. So if you click on that, you can slow down the speed, and then you can make it more springy or less springy, and then less of a squish. So the squish is that kind of abstract, distortion. So I can make that a little bit less. And then it's just kind of floating in. That's pretty cool. But in this case, I'm going to hit none because I want to just preview some of the other ones. So if you hover, like I said, so fade, it just kind of appears, flickered, like it sounds, it flickers. Bungee drops, which is interesting. Drift is kind of nice. And then drop. Drop is similar to bungee. Bungee kind of springs a little bit, or drop kind of just drops down. Rise, like it sounds, be good. And then slide, spin, so it can kind of spin. And then there's also tumble, which is even more of a kind of bounce. Then there's grow, pop, and shrink. Full screen and zoom in. So yes, I'm all by myself here. So let me just do that. Okay, so yeah, I've zoomed in, full screen. So any suggestions on which animation I should use, which feature? I like wobble, but then you can't really choose the kind of in and out. Or only in. You can't choose the loop or out. So maybe drift. I like drift. So if I go to drift, I can then click on the icon, and I can choose the duration. And then I want it to come from the other side. And then you could also choose start from outside page. So when I say start outside page, it comes from that side. And then make it smooth. Yeah. And then from there, I can then choose loop. So once it's in there, I can choose like wind, where it's kind of floating. That's kind of appropriate. Blinking, flicker. So it all depends, what style you want. There's a bob, which also could be good for this. So wind or bob might be good. Bob might be appropriate. There's jitter, spin. No gravity here. Yo-yo, wiggle. And I think you can speed it up as well. Breathe. That's kind of cool. Pulse, zoom in, and zoom out. So I think bob could be good. So comes in, and then I could say speed, maybe slow it down just a little bit. And then intensity. So yeah, intensity makes the wave of the bob much more intense. So I'm just curious if I take it all the way to 100, it's really floating there. So maybe I'll bring it back down to like 50, 52, maybe even slightly less. So it's, kind of like that. And then I can go to out, and then drift. So I'm not going to go through all these since they're very similar to the other ones I went through. Yeah, drift looks nice. So I think I'm going to do drift for the way it goes out, but then make sure that it goes this direction and then ends outside of the page. So it's going to float, and then give it a longer duration. Okay, so that's pretty good. So I got the in, the loop, and the out. Bring it to the front so you don't see anything yet. And then once I hit the preview, kind of comes in, floats around, and floats, drifts out. So yeah, pretty fun. And so I can bring the kind of frame back to the beginning. And then obviously something that would go well with it would be text. So maybe putting in the word for search text, maybe put in modern, see what kind of style we get. Maybe futuristic, future is, get rid of that extra I. I don't mind this. I don't need the second part, but I can ungroup, click out, then click on to get the second part, hit the trash can icon. And then if I go down to that little kind of arrow, I can tilt it a little bit. And so I can call it, select it, go to edit. So I can change my option, but it's already selected. So I can just call it Space Traveler. Space. Is it ELER or ELOR? Let me know in the comments. And then, of course, I'm going to choose a color that will be able to be seen on that dark background. So first, you can see on the left, under Edit, there's recommended fonts. You have different fonts. I could even choose this for that. If I don't like that, just Command Z goes back. I can say View All and get a quick view. What you see is what you get. WYSIWYG, View. Some of these are kind of nice, though. And then, yeah, I like the idea of the kind of lines, though. That looks like a game. And then I can go back. And then, so it tells you the name of the font. You can then choose if you know by name, or you can just search. Also, there's different kind of stylizations for that font. So triple gives you that look compared to the double slant. Maybe I'll do a triple slant. Yeah, I like that, triple slant. And you can, the minus sign smaller, plus sign larger for the size of the font. You can also go to the corners and kind of pull in to resize. And then, of course, here is the fill. So there's some suggested color themes, but I just go to custom, and I want like a kind of blue that'll stand out, or blue aqua. That's kind of good. And then if I click on that. So this will be weird. With a lined font like this, I'm wondering what it'll look like if I add, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah. But maybe different color. I don't want it to look like that's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't want it to make it look like it was Christmas. So yeah, so a light blue for the font itself, and for the outline, a darker blue, which kind of offsets it nicely. And then therefore, once I have that, I'm at the beginning of my timeline. Once again, you can do effects. So you can do like a generate text effects, so like a generative AI type of look, or you can do shadow, and you can even put it like in a shape. If I go to view all, you get all the different kind of options. And in this case, I want to go to animation again. So for in, that's kind of nice. That's fade. So it just kind of reveals it, spells it out. Flickers, a little hectic. Typewriter types it out too. I kind of like fade though. And bungee. So maybe fade. And once again, you can set the duration to be longer. Maybe in between. Not too long, not too short. And so I click. But then I want to do something more with this space bar. So I go back. And when I click on it, I go to animation. I can click on loop. So I can do something for while it's in this timeline. Is it too much to make the text bob just like the astronaut? Or is that appropriate that they're both floating in space? Spin, it spins all the way around. That's yo-yo. Kind of like yo-yo for change. So it looks too much though. Maybe Bob would be more appropriate. Yeah. And then of course, click on it so you can change the speed, the intensity. The intensity makes it really crazy. So it almost has no boundary. So bring it down. Maybe like a 30. Yeah. Okay, good. And then of course I want it to go out. So that's fade. We'll do a fade out. So, and yeah, go out that way. Okay. Okay. There it is. Space Traveler. He kind of bops through the text. Kind of wish that you can choose the direction for the fade. But I guess you don't need to say exit outside of the frame because it automatically does that. So now I just play again. It's kind of fun. And then of course, when you're done, if you go up to download, it defaults to MP4, best for video, and it's set to custom, the original size, and I just said download. And that way I can then post it to social or a website. Any questions so far? Don't be shy now. Feel free to ask questions. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so downloaded that. Yep. So just go back. So go back to Firefly. Okay. So let me grab another one. So here's one I was having fun with. So maybe I'll play with this one. Okay. So here we are back in Firefly. So I want to make sure that the composition reference is off, the style reference is off. I could also hit the word clear. It's set to square again, which is good. I choose the prompt and then type in the new one, woman made out of porcelain. Hit generate. And now it is faster than it used to be. Still got to wait a little. Oh, that's pretty fast. Oh, that's really nice. I like that a lot. So yeah, these are more detailed, a bit more kind of rendering to it, like a 3D kind of shadow tone. Pretty nice. Download that. These are all nice. Yeah. It's a good series. So what I do is on series like this that I like, I'll favorite it, and then I will submit them to the Firefly gallery, not the Firefox browser, and then share options, submit to gallery. It's pretty quick though. Good to see you here, Annette. And then submit to gallery. And then one more. So yeah. And I was going to use another reference image, which I guess I could still do. It's just I'm pretty happy with these as they are. But if I did want to do that, for composition reference, I click here. Here it comes. And then in that same folder, I have some similar ones. So I have that. Now, here's one thing I'm going to try that's a little bit different, but similar. So I have one of the similar images I probably made with Leonardo AI, which I said I like to bring into Firefly as a reference. But for style, I'm going to choose another similar image from my series, but that, is much kind of lighter, just to see what it does. So 2 different images for composition reference and style reference. And let's keep the same prompt and just hit generate. So the first grouping you see above is directly with the text prompt in Firefly. This one is using references from Leonardo. And yeah, it did favor the style reference and has more kind of a lighter base to it. All pretty nice. Yeah, that's a nice one. I'm going to submit that to gallery. So now the hard part is choosing which one to work on. So I kind of like this one. I like the nice blues in this as well as that one. Which one, Annette, would you say the first with the dark blue background or the fourth one? Any preference? Oh, maybe so I click on it. And then last time under share options, I said open in Adobe Express. But if I go to top left as well, edit, I can say add text, and that will also bring me into Adobe Express. And automatically adds text for you. So that's pretty nice. So I'm just going to go to full screen view so you can see the details. So there's my text. And then just call it goddess, maybe. And then once again, recommended fonts. So you have all the different fonts they choose. Maybe something that's more bold like that. And then so I can see, going to go to custom, maybe a light blue. I click out and then I go to outline. Maybe do a dark blue. Not sure I like the way that the G created though, which is weird. It looks different from the okay, so I'm going to go back to recommended fonts. There's that. Pre-regular. That's not bad. And let's see. So once you set the font, you can go back to left. And instead of regular, I can choose a different option, such as semi-bold. Or if I want it to be more bold, choose bold itself. Extra bold. But that kind of makes it kind of a little too kind of like fat text. So maybe a semi-bold, I think would be good. Yep, semi-bold. And then you have default, then you have text layouts. So you can do dynamic circle arch, bow, text flow. which I don't think you need so much. But if I go to effects, that's where I can add shadow. So I usually go custom and then the angle. I like 125. And then the distance, I make it so it's tighter to the thing so you can read it well. So that's pretty readable. And then the blur, soften it just a little bit, maybe like a 10. And then if I go to the shadow, click on the black, instead of pure black, maybe I'll make it a dark blue, offset it. Yeah. And then, of course, I can just go to the bounding box itself, click on it, and then I'm going to go to edit. Well, I don't want text flow. I can just do the plus sign. I think it's missing an S. There we go. So I can move it around. I think maybe an offset of red would be good. Make it a little bit larger. And expand it. There we go. So you just get in the habit of clicking off on the outside of the canvas and click back on the text to select it. That's kind of good, but maybe use a burgundy or a red to offset the outline. Maybe like a darker red in between. Maybe even a lighter blue for inside. Yeah, that looks nice. Yeah. So in this case, I might go to animation. And this one, I think I want it to rise. Right. So if you say start outside the page, it'll start from the bottom. But even though if you say the duration is 4, it'll go pretty fast. If you don't say start outside, it kind of starts where it originally was and just rises up a bit. Smooth is even slower. So I keep it to strong. I hope in the future they give us options of like you have duration, but also speed. So you can change the speed of it. So it's not just kind of jumping up to that position. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me go back here. So play it. That's kind of nice though. And then from there, if you go over to the left, you click on media. You can also click on audio. So you can go to the beginning of the timeline, see what this sounds like. Celtic Moon. And then you can make the whole animation itself shorter, maybe like 4 seconds. Okay, so the music's not so bad, but it's a little abrupt. So what I do is I'm still in the audio area. So first I can bring down the volume and I play that maybe at 55, so it's not too loud. Good. And then I want it a in and out. So I can say for about 1.3 seconds, fade in, fade out. Seems a little long for the animation. So maybe more like a zero point 0.9. maybe even less, maybe 0.6. So give it 0.6 for the fade in and out. The animation's a little short. So grab the overall animation and maybe bring it back to 5 seconds. And now, since it's a 5 second animation, I can go back, click on the sound, and then make the fade in and out duration a little bit longer. So instead of 0.6, make it like a 1.3. Yeah, that's nice. So then when you get to that point, that's where you can download MP4, set to the custom original size, just so you know, if you click here, you can set it to 720p, 1080p, or 4K. I think it's basically 1080p. So download that. It's pretty quick. So downloads as MP4 file. Oh, and I didn't title it. So I could have titled it Goddess. But then I know it's just entitled, so do a preview. That's pretty nice. And then just so you know, if you also want it just as a flattened image, if you go to download, instead of MP4, you can click here and you can save as a PNG or JPEG. So I can choose PNG and then go there. So it opened in preview when I clicked on. So yeah, there it is, large file. Cool. Okay. Okay. So if you look here and that asks, typically, where do you find your music? What do you create with AI? So here I am in Adobe Express. And so with this simple animation, I wanted something to go with the theme, the feel of it. So all I did was I went over to media, and then there's all photos, videos, and audio. So I went to audio, and then it came up with this series of different music. So there's sound effects, there's acoustic, and I believe I used acoustic, maybe Celtic Moon. And then there's background music, and it's got a lot of international music, which is nice. Some Middle East ballad. Then there's blues, brass, classical, country, dance, electronic, film. It's kind of moody, and then hip hop, jazz. I wish there was a bit more. I mean, if you do say view all, you do get a bigger selection. So instead of like three, it says 140 results. So, but I think it's all mixed in though. If you say view all, it's not like view all jazz. It's, as you can see here, there's jazz, Christmas, trip hop, um, festival music. So, but I'm curious though. If I go back and I say acoustic, it does seem like it's trying to keep towards that theme. So there's pretty good options here. Um, just for the sake of today's presentation, I just grabbed, one of the top posted options. But like I said, if you just kind of say view all from any category, you can see all the different ones. So if I go to also jazz, you'll see that it's different results. So 140 results. Yeah. Jazz lounge. But I don't want to click on any of these because it might override the music I already set for this. Okay. So for the next image to work on, what theme do people want to give me? Give me a theme for an image. Don't be shy now. Give me a theme for an image. Let me see here. Adobe Express, Perplexity. Oh, I like that. Science fiction. Okay, so let me share my screen. So here's a way that I've been coming up with text prompts. I'm a big fan of perplexity.ai. It's really good for questions and research and lists. So pretty happy with it. I ask all range of stuff, anything from health questions, curiosity, to what time is it in another country, to what is the weather, to what I'm about to do now. So it is excellent at what it does. So this is one thing I've learned it's very helpful for. If I say, give me a list of text prompts to create AI art on the theme of, science fiction. I wasn't sure if you said sci-fi. So yeah, give me a list of text prompts to create AI art on the theme of science fiction. Just give it a click. And it even breaks it down. So it says futuristic cities and architecture, robots, cyborgs, and androids, alien worlds and life forms, and space explorations and battles, or cyberpunk and dystopian. So if I had more time, I'd go through all of them, but I might just quickly look. So here's a hyper-realistic underwater city illuminated by bioluminescent lights with marine life swimming through futuristic glass corridors. That sounds wonderful to me. So I'll copy that. And what I do tend to do is when I have more time, I would put that in my notes app and then tweak it and add some more kind of personalization. But just for the sake of today, I'm just going to kind of jump on in. So I copied that. I go back to Firefly. I'm going to clear the style and the composition reference. And then in this case, for sci-fi, instead of it being square, I think I want it to be widescreen. And I do want the visual intensity to be even a little higher. Keep it to art. I tend to always like art, photo, with the type of stuff I like to do, which is more imaginative. Let's see. And that says, are you familiar with Repixify? No. What is that? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with Perplexity for text prompts, but Repixify almost sounds like it's something that's good for maybe resizing or upscaling, which I use Topaz Photo AI. Okay, so in this case, I just select the text prompt, I paste it in, hyper-realistic underwater, and then I'm going to hit generate, and it's going to create 4 new images. Hyper-realistic, wow, that's fast. And then once I click on it, you get a larger view. Pretty nice. You get 4 different, quite nice little city underwater. I like the little touch of, you got the blues and then like some warm tones as well. And that is saying the Repixify is a site that can generate hybrid creatures. Cool. And also prompting and descriptions. Yeah, I'll give it a look. Is it a paid subscription, free, or does it have both options? Okay, but here's these. Now, one thing I wanted to also show, even though the theme of today is Adobe Firefly into Adobe Express, I wanted to show that Adobe Express itself obviously has its own set of generative AI capabilities. So if I go to here and I just go to Adobe Express, and I'm going to go full view just so you can see the details. She says she found it free. Great. Thank you so much. So I'm going to do a simple screenshot of the Repixify to remember. Okay, so here I am in Adobe Express. Now, if I hit generate with AI, this pops up. Generate an image, remove objects, insert objects, generate template, clip maker, generate similar, generate video, and generate text effects. So if I say generate image, it starts off with this kind of document that's, it's telling you text into image. That's the little icon. And then over on the left, describe what you'd like to see. So I could paste in the same one, the hyper realistic underwater city. You have the same options of a style and composition reference of images, content type, photo, graphic, or art. I'm going to say art. And then there's a whole bunch of styles you can choose from, similar to Adobe Firefly, probably based on the same Firefly model. In this case, I'm just going to hit generate. You see there's going to be 4 different generations, and then it'll show one larger one in the middle. That's pretty nice. And then I just click on the other ones. So you'll notice, though, one limitation, though, is it didn't give me any option for the, as they call it, the aspect ratio. So the layout size doesn't give you any option but the kind of square documentation. Now you can go to resize itself, and then once you hit resize, you have like social media and all that. There's even like Instagram, Facebook, Google. So if I say, Google ads, if I go back, there's Instagram. Where is like YouTube? So video. Yeah. So I could say, so if I say 1920 by 1080, nice feature that they have in Adobe Express is the option between, so it's telling you it's going to expand the image at the bottom. So it's going to resize the image by generating the missing parts, which is great. So it's going to use generative AI to expand. And then you have 2 options. You can either just say resize and it takes over your image, or if you want to make sure you keep that, you can just say duplicate and resize. And then you see the little kind of rainbow humming of colors is showing that it's doing its thing to extend the image. So it's using generative AI to grab that information. Oh, it's pretty cool. So it's seamless. I don't see any kind of markings through. And it even gives you 3 variations. So I can click. So there's one with, different kind of sea growth, deep sea growth, and then different ones with different rock formations, but all keeping kind of in tune with the same look. It's a little bright, maybe on this one. Maybe this one is a good one. And then if I say keep, then here I am, and I can double click on it. And then just like anything else that I bring into or create directly in Express, I can then, of course, add text and elements. So speaking of that, elements, I'm going to say tropical fish. And I say view all. You have some that are kind of more realistic, some that are more like illustration. So first there's jellyfish. So these jellyfish here. So if I say animation, so if I say wobble, that's kind of perfect for them. And I'll just double click speed, slow it down a little bit, give it more of a spring and more of a squish for sure. There we go. Right. It's kind of coming on into the image. Kind of cute. You make it a little bit higher. Here they come. Now, just remember when you use wobble, you'll see that loop and out is grayed out, not available when wobble is applied. So then if I want more, I just click back. I'm in the design assets for tropical fish. I like this fish, but I kind of wish it was another color. So I'm just going to see what they have. I don't want too cartoony. Here's a large goldfish, but I want something more tropical. this could be nice. Yeah. So I make that smaller. And then, yeah. So I click out, click back on it, then I can rotate it a little bit, -22. Then I'm in animation still. So instead of wobble, maybe I'll do like a drift, kind of like in a gradient, kind of builds itself. Yeah, too funny by, and that says bioluminescent jellies. Yes. But I think I like drift, even though it kind of makes it look like a ghost coming in, whereas slide kind of just goes too fast. So drift, longer duration, strong. And then loop, maybe I'll give it a little, let it swim a little bit. There we go. And then out, maybe drift again, but choose it to go out and end outside of me. Cool. Pretty fun. So they kind of just hang out there, and then the fish floats and disappears away. So one thing I want to request though from Express is the idea of having animation on a line. So you could take like a pencil tool or a pen tool, and you could draw like the pattern of where you want the fish to, starts here, and then you could say you want it to go this way, or you could make it draw so it goes up to the top right corner, give you a bit more options to where you exactly want it to go. It's still pretty creative. I like having more options. So yeah. Let's see, what other things do I want to add to it? There's a little starfish. It's a cute fish. I think if you also add, yes, so you can obviously make it smaller. And then if you click on the three dots, you can send it backwards, etc., which I think we'll just put it behind though. Yeah. Wondering how to just flip it though. Just wanted to, I don't want to replace. But yeah, if you click the replace one, you can replace with an upload. And so I think it will resize it to the same size. Yeah, I don't want to rotate it. I want to flip it. Edit, adjust. There we go. So yeah, so you click on the image, you go to edit, and then under position, there's flip. So I can flip it. And then I just go to the rotate. So I want to start from here. And so I click on animation, and then I could say slide, and I want it to go to the left, smooth, and then loop, bob again, so it's swimming. Out, slide. That's kind of fun. So now we have a fish going from the left side to the right, a fish from the right to left. So yeah, you were saying, can you flip to face the other way? That's what I was looking for. And I found it. Sometimes in Express, you got to hunt for some of the things, but main thing is whenever you click on, say, an image that you want to edit in ways, just remember to always just be curious about. So you're in the image, you go to edit, there's these options, and then that's where you can do like adjust, which would change like the brightness, contrast, saturation, etc., or position, where you could then align it to top, middle, bottom, or you can flip horizontal or vertical. And then there's effects, you can change the coloring and even do like a duotone. And then, of course, there's animation, which I just did. Um, and then slide. I want to make it go from right to left. Make it smooth. Okay, so I'm curious now. We've added all those elements in, loop out. So the jellyfish pop in, the two tropical come in. One goes from right to left. The other one goes from left to right. And then what was it? Can you make the fish appear in the center and swim towards the viewer? Let me see if I can add a new one to that. I'm not sure that you don't have that much control. So I'm hoping that they give us more options for such as animate on a path. But if I go to edit and then go to media, well, more like elements. Let's see, tropical fish again. Hit search. There we go. Design assets, then a whole bunch show up. Let's see if there's anyone that's kind of front facing. They're all kind of left to right, though. Here we go. It's a bit cute one. Well, let me see if there's any other ones. Yeah, maybe the other one. It's a bit cute, but okay. So we got this one. A little bit smaller. So if I go to animation, I can do grow. So it kind of is like floating towards you. I give it a bit of a stronger. Yeah. And then out. So if I chose grow, then maybe I'll do shrink for it to disappear. And then put that as strong as well. Okay. So fun, right? So yeah, it doesn't absolutely swim towards you. It kind of grows, which kind of suggests it swimming towards you. And then I have it kind of just disappearing away. But it's pretty fun. Yeah, I like the options they give you. Like I said, I really hope that they give us like animate on a path, but so I'm not sure if the jellyfish really do much though. So I might take off wobble. And then do a new animation. So uh, yeah, rise I think is appropriate. Smooth. I start from outside the page. And then have them bob a little bit too. I can bring down the speed a little bit. Yeah, you say you would have to animate in its own layer. Yeah, they don't give you that direct options. And then out. I think rise would be good. That's cute. Okay, so maybe a little bit busy here, all these elements, but here we go. So some going left, some going right, some rising up. So yeah, so as you can see, they're a lot of fun to have in Adobe Express, both Adobe Firefly and Adobe Express. But, yeah. So yeah, Adobe Firefly into Adobe Express. A lot of fun, a lot of creative options, a lot of great animation options. So yeah, any last questions? Creativity is the best therapy. Okay, no questions. So yeah, let me just so give a couple shout outs. So the recording will be listed on my YouTube. So please consider subscribing for more digital art, Photoshop, and art focused live streams and tutorials on my YouTube at youtube.com/@DrewCav. And while I'm here, I'm just going to get rid of that extra red dot you don't need. So subscribe for my digital art, youtube.com/@DrewCav. So youtube.com/@DrewCav. Please subscribe, send your friends. And if you just go to YouTube, you can do a simple search for Drew Cav on YouTube. Please consider following me on Facebook at facebook.com/Andrew.Kavanagh. I'm also on Instagram, instagram.com/Drew_Cav_. I'm on Blue Sky Social, but I don't jump into it as much as I did when there was a new influx of people joining. But drewcav.bsky.social. And then you can see my work on Behance, behance.net/drewcav. And then for my groups on Facebook, please consider joining the AI Art and Digital Art group, facebook.com/groups, AI Art Digital Art. There's 2 Photoshop and Lightroom groups. So Photoshop and Lightroom group, which I believe this is the 390,000 one, facebook.com/groups, the Photoshop and Lightroom group. And the second one, Photoshop and Lightroom group 2, facebook.com/groups, Photoshop and Lightroom group. So yes, thank you so much for watching, so much for being here. And it's fine. You can always watch the replay on my YouTube, and feel free to share the link when you go there if you'd like. So thanks everybody for attending, and keep your eye out. I think I might be doing another live next Friday, and taking a little bit of a vacation beginning of June, but always keep your eye out on my timeline for postings about these live events and sometimes contests and the groups, etc. So thanks so much for everyone for attending. Have a wonderful weekend, and thank you. See you, everybody.